Hey guide, I've been thinking about germs and stuff. Like, bacteria are those tiny things that make us sick, right? So could we even survive without them? Wouldn't the world be way better if they all just disappeared?
That's a super interesting question, kiddo. At first glance, yeah, bacteria sound like the bad guys, because some of them do cause illnesses, like that stomach bug you might get from bad food. But here's the thing, they're not all villains. Most bacteria are actually everywhere. Tiny microbes living in the soil, the air, even on your skin right now. And they're doing important jobs that keep life going. Imagine if we wiped them all out. It might seem cleaner, but we'd run into huge problems fast.
Wait, really? But if they make us sick, why not get rid of the bad ones and keep the good ones? Or are there even good ones?
Great point. And that's a common mix-up. Not all bacteria are out to get us. Only a tiny fraction cause diseases. The rest? They're like invisible workers in a giant factory called Earth. They're essential for big life processes, like helping plants grow or breaking down dead stuff so it doesn't pile up forever. Without them, everything from the food we eat to the air we breathe would grind to a halt. Think about it. Bacteria have been around for billions of years, way before humans, and they've helped shape the whole planet.
Billions of years? That's like forever. So they're everywhere because they help make the world work? But how do we know they're not just causing more trouble than good?
I get why you'd wonder that. It's scary when you hear about infections. But scientists have studied this a ton. For example, in your own backyard, bacteria in the dirt turn dead leaves into nutrients that plants need to grow. Without them, soil would be like a big junkyard, full of waste that nothing could use. And get this, some bacteria even help make the oxygen we breathe by working with tiny ocean plants. They're ubiquitous, meaning you can't escape them, because life depends on them. If we tried to live without bacteria, we'd probably last only a short time before things fell apart.
Whoa, oxygen? That's wild. I always thought of them as just yucky germs under a microscope. So if they're so important, what do they do that's good for us every single day?
Exactly, and that's where it gets personal. They're not just out in the world, they're helping inside your body too, like in your tummy, breaking down food so you can get energy from it.
In my tummy? That sounds kinda weird. Like, aren't bacteria the things that give you a stomachache? How could they be helping break down my food?
I totally get why that feels gross at first. Nobody wants to think about tiny bugs in their belly. But picture this. Your gut is like a busy kitchen where food gets chopped up into tiny bits your body can use for energy, like fuel for running or playing. Most of the bacteria living there, called gut bacteria or your microbiome, are super helpful chefs. They break down tough stuff in foods, like the fibers in apples or beans, that your own body couldn't handle alone. Without them, you'd feel bloated and tired all the time because your meals wouldn't digest properly.
Whoa, like chefs? So they chop up the hard parts? But what if they're the bad kind that makes you sick instead?
Good question. And yeah, sometimes bad bacteria sneak in and cause trouble, like from spoiled milk. But your gut is full of mostly good guys, trillions of them, way more than the bad ones. They team up to fight off those invaders, kind of like a neighborhood watch group keeping the streets safe. Scientists call this your gut's defense system. Plus, these friendly bacteria make vitamins right there in your intestines, like vitamin K that helps your blood clot if you get a cut, or B vitamins that give you energy to zoom around the playground. Imagine eating a big bowl of yogurt. It's packed with those good bacteria that yogurt makers add on purpose to help your tummy.
Vitamins from bacteria? That's cool. I eat yogurt sometimes, but I didn't know it was like feeding my inside helpers. Does that mean everyone has these gut bacteria?
Yep, every single person does, starting from when you're born. Babies get their first dose from their mom, and it grows as they eat different foods. It's why doctors say to eat lots of fruits, veggies, and fermented stuff like cheese or sauerkraut. It feeds those bacteria and keeps them happy and strong. If your gut bacteria get out of balance, say from too many antibiotics that wipe out the good ones along with the bad, you might get tummy troubles or even feel down because they help your mood too, through connections to your brain. But normally they're quietly working every day, turning your breakfast into the power you need to learn and play.
Huh, so they're not gross. They're like my secret team inside. But if they're doing all that in my body, I wonder what else they might be up to out in the world around us.
Oh, they're busy everywhere, not just keeping your insides running smooth. Think about the dirt in your backyard, or the water in a river. Bacteria are there too, cleaning things up in ways that affect us all.
Cleaning up dirt in rivers? Like how? I mean, bacteria in the soil just sound like more yucky stuff that sticks to my shoes when I play outside. Do they really matter for big things?
Yeah, I know. Dirt bacteria don't sound glamorous, like superheroes in capes, but they're like the planet's janitors, working non-stop to keep everything tidy and usable. Picture a pile of fallen leaves in your yard after autumn. Without bacteria, that pile would just sit there forever, turning into a smelly mess. But those tiny microbes break it down, munching on the dead stuff and turning it into rich soil full of nutrients. It's called decomposition, where they eat waste and poop out the good stuff plants need to grow strong roots and green leaves.
Janitors? Okay, that's kind of funny. So they eat dead leaves and make the dirt better for plants? But why does that help us? Like, I don't eat dirt.
Fair point. Nobody's suggesting a dirt sandwich, but think about your favorite veggies, like carrots or tomatoes from the garden. Those plants need that nutrient-rich soil to thrive, and bacteria make sure the ground stays fertile instead of barren. They're recycling old junk into new life, over and over. In fact, without them, farms would run out of good soil super quick, and we'd have trouble growing enough food for everyone. It's all connected. Healthy plants mean healthy animals, and that keeps the whole food chain going, right up to your dinner plate.
Whoa, so no bacteria, no yummy carrots? That makes sense now. But what about water? You mentioned rivers. Do they clean that too?
Absolutely, and it's even more amazing. Rivers and lakes get dirty from all sorts of waste, like animal poop or chemicals from farms running off the land. Bacteria in the water and mud act like natural filters, breaking down those pollutants so the water stays drinkable and safe for fish to swim in. Some types even purify it by eating harmful stuff, turning toxic gunk into harmless bits. Scientists use this in water treatment plants, speeding up what bacteria do naturally to give us clean tap water. Without them, our oceans and streams would fill up with junk, making fish sick and the whole water cycle a nightmare.
Filters in the water? Like tiny vacuums sucking up the bad stuff? I guess I never thought about how water gets clean after rain washes everything gross into it.
Exactly, like invisible vacuums with superpowers. And it's not just cleaning. Those bacteria help cycle nutrients through the environment, moving stuff like nitrogen from the air into the soil so plants can use it. That's huge for farms and forests. If we ignored them, thinking they're irrelevant, we'd see the world turn into a wasteland pretty fast, with dead zones where nothing grows. But they're quietly keeping the balance, making sure waste doesn't overwhelm everything.
Balance. Yeah, that sounds important. So they're out there recycling and filtering all the time? But if they stopped, wouldn't we just figure out another way to clean up?
We could try, but it'd be tough without their help from the start. Imagine no bacteria breaking down all the trash. Piles of waste everywhere, soil turning to dust, rivers turning murky and deadly. What do you think would happen to the plants and air if that recycling stopped cold?
If the recycling stopped, plants might not get what they need to grow, right? Like they'd starve or something. And then the air, I don't know, maybe it would get stuffy without fresh stuff from them?
You're spot on with that thinking. Plant starving is exactly where it starts. Without bacteria recycling those nutrients into the soil, plants couldn't make food or grow properly. They'd weaken and die off in huge numbers, turning green fields into brown wastelands. And here's the scary part. Plants, along with tiny ocean algae that bacteria help, produce most of the oxygen we breathe, about 70% of it. No healthy plants means less fresh air, and we'd start gasping for breath, like running out of air in a stuffy room that never opens.
Less oxygen? That sounds bad. Like everyone getting out of breath just sitting around. But wouldn't the world feel cleaner without all those germs spreading everywhere?
I hear you. Fewer germs might seem like a win at first. No more colds or tummy aches from bad bacteria. But vanishing all bacteria would backfire big time. Think about food. Without them decomposing waste, nothing would break down. So dead animals and plants would just rot in place, filling the air with awful smells and breeding even worse problems. How fridges and stores? Food would spoil instantly because bacteria help preserve things indirectly by keeping the ecosystem balanced. Supermarkets would empty fast, and hunger would spread like wildfire.
Rotting everything? Yikes, that'd be grosser than any germ. So no food growing, no clean air. What about people getting sick even more?
Exactly, and that's the explosion part. Your gut bacteria fight off bad invaders, remember? Without them, even tiny threats could overwhelm us. Diseases would rage unchecked because we'd have no internal army to hold the line. Soil and water would turn toxic without bacterial cleanup, poisoning crops and drinking sources leading to widespread illness. Animals would suffer too, collapsing the food chain. No healthy bugs for birds, no strong deer for wolves, and soon nothing for us to eat. In labs, scientists have tested mini-worlds without microbes, and they crash fast. Everything unbalanced and dying. The whole planet relies on bacteria like threads in a web. Pull them out and it all unravels.
A web? Yeah, I see it now. No bacteria means no oxygen, no food, tons of rot and sickness everywhere. It's like the world would just stop working.
You've got it, kiddo. That's the disaster in a nutshell. But flip it around. Bacteria aren't enemies. There are invisible allies, tiny friends holding everything together. From your breakfast energy to the breeze on a sunny day, they're the quiet heroes we can't live without. Next time you see a flower blooming or feel full after a meal, think of those little workers making it possible. Pretty amazing how something so small keeps our big world spinning, huh?
Yeah, amazing. I used to think bacteria were just bad news, but now I know they're the good guys we need. Thanks for explaining all that. Makes me appreciate the tiny stuff a lot more.